Even a murder case can be fixed if the judge is given something to hang his hat on. That's a quote from a conversation between two Chicago lawyers that the FBI picked up on tape during an undercover operation. It was called Operation Greylord, and it ran for 3.5 years in the Chicago area in the 80s. During it, the FBI investigated the Cook County court system to attempt prosecutions on corrupt persons of law. The government sent special agents to pose as corrupt lawyers, defense attorneys, and witnesses to get inside information and potentially prove the bribing schemes of numerous judges. They also bugged a few of those judges' bedrooms, so agents could listen in on any bribing exchanges or deals. At the end of this large-scale investigation, 98 people working in the legal department were indicted, and most were found guilty for various crimes, anything from bribery to perjury to extortion. It is considered the biggest cover-up in Chicago history.
No comment.
These defendants are charged with a variety of federal crimes, including racketeering, extortion, mail fraud, and conspiracy, all of them in connection with the alleged corrupt disposition of cases pending in the Circuit Court of Cook County.
While many viewed Operation Greylord as a success, others viewed it as a violation because of the use of electronic bugs that recorded judges' private conversations in their homes. But the operation was a necessary step in ridding the Chicago court system of corrupt lawyers and judges. The Cook County court system was filled with bribing and extortion schemes, lying, and countless other corruptions. It involved everyone from simple court clerks to high-renowned judges. An article from the Chicago Tribune states, the allegations ranged from fixing drunken driving cases to more serious felony charges. By the end of the decade, nearly 100 people had been indicted, and all but a handful were convicted. Of the 17 judges indicted, 15 were convicted. The tally of convictions included 50 lawyers, as well as court clerks, police officers, and sheriff deputies. The huge number of workers found to be guilty out of the total number of prosecuted shows how big the cover-up really was, and how many trials could have been affected by all of those people. By prosecuting and removing the corrupt law workers, the Chicago justice system could be put back in order. The huge number of criminals involved called for extra help from the federal government. The public FBI history website explains how Operation Greylord, quote, was an important first step to cleaning up the administration of justice in Cook County. That's really the whole point. Abuse of the public trust cannot and must not be tolerated. Corrupt practices in government strike at the heart of social order and justice. And that's why the FBI has the ticket on investigations of public corruption as a top priority. Generally speaking, the Cook County was supposed to handle the matter themselves, but they didn't have the necessary resources or people, so they asked the FBI for help. The government came in and helped uncover the secret arrangements being made in court. Some people argue that the county should have dealt with the growing problem on their own and that the FBI shouldn't have intervened. But without federal help, many of these crooks would have continued making bribes and causing unfair trials. Even though the operation was a huge success, not all people viewed it to be fair. An article from the Chicago Tribune explains, Steinbeck and Kenneth Cuniff, Costello's lawyer, contend that FBI agents overstepped legal bounds in listening to their clients' conversations. Costello was one of the lawyers that was caught on tape with Judge Wayne Olson. He was offering to pay Olson thousands of dollars, vacations, liquor, and Cubs tickets to get the trial outcome in favor of his client. It's illegal to record a person without them knowing. The FBI planting listening devices in a person's bedroom without their knowledge is a huge step over the line. People have a right of privacy, and it is argued that the government could have found other ways to expose Judge Wayne for accepting bribes from Costello, other than bugging their rooms. These people also disagree with the FBI's usage of undercover agents, the people who pretended to be corrupt lawyers. But was there really any other way to expose them?
There were judges that believed that because they were in a robe, that no one could touch them.
This wasn't any secretive cult.
How were you supposed to make a case against a court clerk, a defense lawyer, a judge, a prosecutor?
How do you go out and find evidence of judicial corruption?
We didn't know that there would be a Terry Hake.
Terry Hake played a key role in that, there's no question about it. Posing as a crooked lawyer and getting the inside information. You couldn't have gotten any other way. They had to do it that way, I think, to start the ball rolling, and it did.
I was only about 2.5 years out of law school. Hadn't been to the FBI Academy. I was told that I would never practice law again in Cook County if I did this project.
Today's indictments bring to 80 the number of persons charged in Operation Greylord.
How many lawyers, how many bailiffs?
17 of those charged are present or former judges.
It stunned reporters, it stunned the public. They'd come out as righteous as ever, so they still had that arrogance of being the top man till bang, when they came down and got convicted.
The FBI was trying to expose top lawyers, judges, and prosecutors, intelligent people that have much experience in their expertise. Providing evidence for their crooked allegations required them to use tactics like undercover lawyers and bugging, because trying to convince the public that their trusted lawyers and judges were actually fraudulent was going to call for cold, hard evidence, such as the tapes. Journalist E.R. Shipp examines a few of the most famous criminals involved in the Chicago cover-up, Judge Olson and lawyer Costello. Among those indicted by a federal grand jury were Judge Wayne W. Olson, who was charged with soliciting and receiving $9,530 in bribes from two lawyers, James Costello and Bruce Roth. In addition, it was charged that Judge Olson had an arrangement with Mr. Costello to be paid half the money the lawyer received as refunds from bonds his client posted as defendants in the judge's court. The FBI had to take certain steps to get people such as Costello and Wayne out of the Chicago courts. They used crooked plans, deals, and bribes to earn more money for themselves, not to help their clients. Without Operation Greylord, slippery lawyers and judges would continue to cause unfair trials in court, and their bribing schemes would grow bigger. The government needed to do whatever it took to help get the city's justice system back in order. It can be understandable for people to see how Operation Greylord was too secretive or may have invaded privacy, but without it, Chicago could have hundreds of criminals working in their courtrooms. And bribery and criminal activity definitely has no place in the justice system.